In January, after ending a complicated relationship, I decided to rent a small temporary studio downtown. I needed some time alone, and the place was cheap and simple, just a single room with a small kitchen and a bathroom. It was in an old 4-story building with no doorman. Each tenant had their own key to get in, and that was it. Right from the first few days, I noticed the building was strange, not because of noises or anything obvious, but because of the total absence of life. I didn't see neighbors, didn't hear footsteps, nothing. It was as if I were the only person living there, which seemed impossible since most windows were lit at night. The first week went fine. I worked from home during the day and went out at night to grab food or take a walk. One night, coming back around 10 p.m., I saw that my apartment door was slightly open. Frozen, I stood there for a few seconds, listening. Nothing. I slowly opened the door, turned on the lights, and checked every corner. Everything looked exactly as I had left it. No sign of a break-in or mess. I even thought maybe I had forgotten to lock it, but then I noticed something out of place. The small chair near the window was now turned toward the center of the room, as if someone had been sitting there, watching me sleep. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe I moved the chair earlier and didn't remember. Maybe the next night, I locked everything tight, even used a portable door lock I had ordered online. Before going to bed, I set my phone to record a video, pointing it at the door. The next morning, the phone was still recording. Everything looked fine, but when I watched the footage at 3:47 a.m., I caught something. A soft click, the sound of the lock. The doorknob moved slightly, like someone was testing if it would open. It didn't open, of course, thanks to the extra lock. But who tried? And how did they have a key? I took the video to the police. They couldn't do much. They said the sound could be from something else, and there was no visual evidence of a break-in. They suggested I install a real camera. I became paranoid. The next night, I didn't sleep. I lay there in the dark, waiting for any sound. Around 4 a.m., I heard a faint noise coming from the ceiling. The apartment had a hatch in the bathroom ceiling, something I'd never paid attention to. But now, in the dead silence of the night, I swear I heard something up there. A light creak. I walked to the bathroom with my phone in hand, turned on the flashlight, and pointed it at the hatch. There was dust around it and a footprint. Someone had been there. Or worse, someone was still there. I left the apartment immediately, spent the rest of the night in a 24-hour cafe. The next morning, I came back with the police. They opened the hatch and climbed up. Above, in the crawl space beneath the roof, they found a blanket, a water bottle, and food wrappers. Someone had been living there. They didn't find anyone at the time. But the scariest part was what they found with the belongings. A small notebook filled with notes. My name was in it, my schedule, the day I moved in, my apartment number, and on the last page, one sentence: wait for him to fall asleep earlier. I moved out that very afternoon, and to this day, every night before bed, I check the ceiling. I was house sitting for my aunt for a few days while she was traveling. It was an old house in a small town with that classic, absolute nighttime silence. She had 2 dogs that needed to be fed and walked, so I figured it would be easy, like a mini vacation. The house itself was charming, but had some old habits, like windows that stuck, stairs that creaked, and a back door that only locked with a specific key. By the second night, I was already used to the sound of the house. I took the dog for a walk, came back, had a simple meal, and went to bed. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to a loud noise coming from downstairs. It sounded like someone had knocked over something metal. I sat up in bed, still groggy, thinking when the dogs had caused some mess. But when I opened the bedroom door, I saw both dogs sitting right outside, completely still, staring at the staircase that led downstairs. I went down slowly, trying not to make noise. Every step creaked way too loud. I got to the kitchen, and everything looked normal. I opened the cabinet where the dog bowls were kept. One of them was on the floor. Maybe it slipped, I thought. But the weird thing was, it was flipped upside down, as if someone had hit it hard. I did a quick check around the house. Windows, doors, all locked, or so I thought. When I got back to the living room, I noticed the back door was slightly open, the same one that needed a key to lock. I clearly remembered locking it earlier, even testing the handle. This time, I locked it again, carefully, and went back to the bedroom with the dogs. They took a while to calm down. I barely slept that night. The next night, something worse happened. Again, I woke up around the same time, this time to the dogs barking. But now, they were inside the bedroom. When I got up, I noticed they were staring at the built-in closet in the corner, growling quietly. I slowly opened the door, heart racing, but inside there was nothing, just some old coats and boxes. I decided to pull out one of the boxes to see what was inside, and I found a VHS tape with the label torn off. Curious, I went down the basement, where my aunt had an old VCR still hooked up. I put in the tape. The video was grainy and dark. It showed someone filming the house. This house, from outside, it looked like nighttime. The camera moved slowly toward the windows, stopping to film through the cracks, like someone was spying. At one point, the camera turned briefly and showed a face. It was my aunt. She looked like she was asleep on the couch, completely unaware she was being recorded. I stopped the tape right there, covered in goosebumps. I ran back to the bedroom and spent the rest of the night awake, with the dogs at my feet. The next day, I called the police. They took the tape and asked some questions, but never found out who filmed it or when it was recorded. My aunt said she'd never seen that tape before, but ever since then, she's installed cameras all over the house, and I've never agreed to house sit for anyone again. This happened about 3 weeks ago. I live alone in a rented wooden house located in a forested area, a bit isolated from the city. The place is simple, rustic, and it was a bargain precisely because of how remote it is. At the time, I thought that was a good thing. Silence, tranquility, peace. During the day, it really is all of that. But at night, the atmosphere changes. That night, I was in my bedroom watching TV around 11 p.m. It had been raining hard, as it had nearly every day that month. The power flickered a little, but didn't go out. I was just about to turn everything off and go to sleep when I heard it. Clear knocks at the front door. Not timid knocks, like someone who's lost. They were firm, rhythmic, as if the person on the other side knew someone was supposed to answer. I froze just listening. 3 knocks, then silence. I didn't hear a car. No footsteps approaching. And what made it stranger, my front porch has no roof, with all that heavy rain. Anyone standing there should have been completely soaked, but I didn't hear dripping water. No wet shoes moving, just the rain. I waited a few more minutes. No more knocks. Instead of going to the front door, I decided to check through the side window, and there it was, a figure, standing motionless. back turned toward me, right at the edge of the porch. The rain poured over them, but the body didn't move, not a twitch, almost unreal, like a statue left in the storm. I backed away slowly and returned to bedroom. No cell signal. Not unusual during storms out here. I grabbed my flashlight and my camping knife, not really knowing what I'd do with either. I sat in the corner of the room, waiting. Every drop of rain seemed louder now. Every creak in the walls a warning. Maybe 20 minutes passed. The storm hadn't let up, but I started to feel the tension lift until I heard it. The sound of the doorknob being tested. A gentle rattle. Someone was trying to open it. Slowly, carefully, not breaking in, but checking, like they had experience with locks. My blood ran cold. The key was still in the lock, on the inside. I ran to the door, pulled it out, locked it tight, and shoved a chair under the handle without thinking. It was instinct, a survival reflex. After that, silence. I didn't sleep. I sat on the floor, knife across my lap, flashlight pointed at the door. Every small crack and groan in the wooden walls made me jump. My breath felt too loud. When morning finally came, the rain had slowed to a drizzle. I opened the door cautiously. No one there, but right in the center of the porch, soaked and already starting to fade from the rain, was a folded note, handwritten in blue ink. The paper was soggy outside, but dry inside, like it had been protected in a pocket. The handwriting was clean, deliberate. It read, "You lock it from the inside, but I've been here before.